Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my craft room and welcome to my YouTube channel. First of all, it's a sort of a bit of this and that, so I just want to say a huge thank you for all of your orders. I've just finished packing, so everything that was ordered Friday and Saturday and this morning is all packed and sorted. So I just thought I'd pop by and we'll create a little video. So thank you to those that bought my new release. I had 3 A6 stamps, so TE10 Quirky Birds, TE7 Abutilon, TE8 Malva and TE9 Take Flight. And I think today I'm going to do a project with the Abutilon one. But before I do that, I thought I would pop by and show you all the cards once again from Workshop 107. I've still got this video to load into the workshop group, but I'll hopefully get round to that later today. But I thought I would show you all the cards that we make and the journal page that we make just once again. So if you've already seen these, you can just fast forward to when I start my video for the project. So this is the journal page, which I have loaded and put onto Facebook and other social media platforms today. So this is part of the workshop 107, and it's called A Little Bit of This and A Little Bit of That, because it is. And these are the cards that you're going to be making, just so that you can see what you will be making in the workshop. Just a quick sort of glance at the cards you'll be making. So if you just want to do the workshop, you can use any stamps that you wish, but this just shows you how to use my new release, just so that you can see those. And you make all these in the workshop. Listen to this. So very textural. I love those chevrons. So you make all these in the workshop. Just again, I loved creating these. Absolutely love them. I love this one. And that's on social media as well. And then our final one with our lovely mouse. So those are the cards that you'll be making in the workshop. I still need to photograph a couple and put those in the workshop, but I thought we'd create a card with our Abutilon stamp. So what I've got is, I haven't cut anything special. These were already cut. So this is Pink Frog Smooth Card 300 GSM, and it's 4 inches by 6 inches. And I thought we'd go with that. Why do I pick? I normally fold it over so I've got the edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave a little narrow border with my low-tack tape. You can use your washi tape if you wish, but just be careful because it can be a little sticky and you want to make sure that you can peel that away, okay? So remove a little bit of the tackiness. I'll lift this up so you can see exactly the amount of a border I'm leaving. I'm not being precise, I'm just doing it by eye. There we go. I'll remember to fold that over because I'm good like that. And again, I'm going to use colours that are on my desk. And I've done it again. I haven't picked up any colouring medium, so I will have to drag those out. So you can see I've just got sort of a narrow border. It's sort of very narrow. So you can make that as narrow or as wide as you wish. So I think I'm going to brayer this way. Just makes it a little bit easier. I don't know why at an angle, but it just does. Now, these colours were on my desk. Salvage Patina, Salty Ocean and Bundled Sage. So I'm going to use those colours. And I'm going to use the lightest colour, which for me is the Salvage Patina. Now, I use this particular brayer for inks. So it's particularly for inks. So I just need to wipe that just in case. As you can see, there is colour on there. So I'm just wiping the brayer, because if I've used oxide, it will still be on the brayer. And it's a little bit dirty. So I'm just going to grab a piece of kitchen roll and just make sure that I brayer off any of that moisture so that we don't get any contamination of colour. But you can see how much was on there. So now I'm going to pick up my Salvaged Patina. Just pick up a good layer of that ink, and I've avoided the edges, so I'm okay. And I'm going to just bring in the colour to my design. And just bringing it down into the card. And you think you've got nothing on there, but keep brayering. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually lift this up, and then I'm going to turn that around. Again, just adding plenty of that Salvaged Patina, and I'm just going to brayer the colour. And I don't sort of go like that, I sort of flick with the brayer, so it's sort of flicking. So let's grab some more of that ink, and let's just come in a little bit darker to the centre, because I'm going to add darker colour around the edges, so we need to bring some of that Salvaged Patina into the centre area. And it's about taking your time, like you would if you were blending with your brushes. It just takes time just to build up. But even that on its own, isn't it a beautiful colour, the Salvage Patina? So let's just take a little bit more. So that's sort of a reasonable, nice blend, and there's no colour on there. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to take some Bundled Sage. Now that is darker in colour. Now my ink pads are well used. There are a couple that are used less than others, but they're well used. So I'm going to come in and further down into the card, but not right into the centre. And I must admit, it is far easier turning the card. If you don't want to turn the card, that's absolutely fine. I can hardly see the low-tack tape, considering my non-stick craft sheet is white. That's it. So let's just turn that around. And because I'm brayering on that, it just flattens the low-tack tape. So I'm just bringing this colour down into the card. And you don't want to cover all this area here. There we go. So that's fine. And then I'm going to use a little touch of Salty Ocean. Now my Salty Ocean is it's a strong colour. As you can see, it's definitely stronger on that brayer. And then I'm just going to start off the low-tack tape. Can you see most of the colour is here? So I can bring that colour into the card. Let's take a little bit more. Again, patchy, doesn't matter. Start off the card and then bring it in. I'm just going to start off this side and bring that in. again, a little bit more of that colour. Just to make it a little bit darker. So there's still colour on there. You could brayer that off onto another card if you wish. Just so you can see what we've got so far. If I just wipe that low tack tape, then you can see exactly what we've got so far. Just beautiful. Now I'm just going to take another piece of 4x6 and just brayer off that salty ocean, because there's a lot of salty ocean on there. So I'm just brayering that off just onto another piece of card. So then I'm going to take a little bit more of the bundled sage first. So let's take a little bit of the bundled sage and let's just brayer a little bit more of that bundled sage, just so that we get rid of any of those lines. I'll just make sure that the brayer is clean by going off onto that spare piece of card. It is, it's very clean. Now I'm going to go with the salvage patina. So I'm going to pick up a good layer of that salvage patina and I'm just going to add that in the centre. And I'm just going to add a few layers of that salvage patina. You can see that my salvage patina is well used. Just beautiful. There we go. Some lovely colours. So let's just lift this up. Let's just clean our surface area. And you can see that that gives me a beautiful blend of colour. Now it's deciding which way I want to create. So what I do is, I always do it. I always use my acetate. Now I often do cards this way, but I quite fancy a card this way this time. So, oh yes, yes, yes. So let's take our Abutilon. I love that stamp. You can see the detail in the Abutilon. It's just beautiful. And the acetate, it just works really well to work out if that's what you want on your card. So I'm going to take some grey. Try not to mix all my ink pads up. I have got the grey Morning Mist VersaFine Clair on the website, and I'll add the website to the description box. Can't speak. So I'm going to ink my Abutilon with the Morning Mist VersaFine Clair. Now, don't ink the stamp up over your work. I often do that so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. But I'm just giving that plenty of tapping just over the stamp. Then I'm going to, I think I'll start here. So we'll add that Abutilon here. Just works nicely. That background does works really well, that background does. And even when I use my black, my grey, my colours, it doesn't matter. I give that time just to absorb onto the card. Now, you've added this Distress Oxide ink, but you've added nice light layers, but it's still there. So therefore, you're not stamping onto the white card. So therefore, it's less absorbent. So just give it a little bit of time just to grab hold of the surface. And then the grey is beautiful against that. So what I'm going to do then, I've got the little sort of added on Abutilon, smaller flower with a little bow. Bud. Oh dear, you can tell I've been packing. My brain cells aren't working. So let's just take that bud and the smaller Abutilon. And now I can add, let's just add that. Actually, did I do a, where's my little, these are my masks. It's a good idea to cut them out before you even start. I've cut mine out of copy paper. You might have masking sheets. So let's just add that there, like so. We'll just ink that again because I've been faffing. Let's add there like that. And it's only a small stamp, so it doesn't take much stamping. Let's just add that there. And then I'm just going to take a micron pen, just to move that, just to join that a little bit. There we go. And then just going to think about where I want this here. So I'm going to stamp that one. I love playing around with stamps. So I'm going to take the Abutilon again. And the grey just means that it's sort of more in the background. So I'm bringing that one down here. And the grey dries a little bit quicker than the black, but I will still blot the imagery. I will still blot the imagery because I'm working on that oxide ink background. So I'm going to take the smaller bud again, smaller bud and flower. And then I'm going to add this. I think you're still going to have to use your mask, Tracy. I often, well, you should know by now how much I faff. Then should be able to fit one in there. Oh, I still need the mask. Oh, what are you like? Only just need the mask. There we go, just to add a little bit. And then I'm going to take the larger Abutilon again. I'm just going to add, I love adding parts of imagery so that it just looks a little bit different each time. I love having it coming off the page, and just so you can see what I'm doing. Let's just, there we go. And then do I want a little bit coming off there? Do you know, I think I do. So let's just ink. Now I always ink way more of the stamp than I need to, just because it's easier then, and I won't miss any. Just place a little bit of that there. Let's just remove that, just so you can see what I'm doing. Just lovely. Now, do I want... Yeah, so let's take the mask again. Place that over here. Again, I'm going to ink the whole bud stamp because I can't like just see. I want that little bud there. Wonderful. And let's put the mask here, like so. You can tell I'm enjoying myself because I always get lost in the process. So again, I'm going to ink up that little bud again, the bud and the smaller flower. And just stamp that there. Lovely. So I'm just going to wipe around here, just so that you can see exactly what I'm going for, because I'll have one on the top as well that we're going to cut out in the black. So what I'm going to do now is just grab a brush. Hopefully we've got one the right colour. So this has got blues on, so that'll be fine. So what I'm going to do now is just deepen the edges. So I'm going to use my Salty Ocean. So I'm just going to deepen those edges. But before I do that, I'm just going to use a piece of card just to make sure that we've got no residue of ink. No, we haven't. Line around. So let's pick up that Salty Ocean again. And I'll start off here on the low tack tape and then just sort of come in to the edge. So most of it looks like it's going onto the low tack tape, but I don't want to obliterate the colours that I've braided on there in a beautiful sort of blended look. But I'm just adding the neat sort of Salty Ocean to the edges, just to bring a little bit more. I'll do this with my left hand rather than move the card. Just bring in a little bit more of that definition, just with the Salty Ocean. And we'll just go around the top. There we go. So that just gives us, or the card even, not us personally, some definition. I'm then just going to spritz the background with water, but from very high up. Oh, and then I'm going to knock the camera like you do. There you go. So I've just spritzed that from really high up. Just going to give that a little bit of time just to do its thing. Not too much, because I just want a little bit of a reaction. And that's exactly what I've got. Look how much ink is on the low tack tape. So look at the pattern from a kitchen roll on the low tack tape. So let's just, and now because I've added moisture, you've got to remember there's moisture on that low tack tape. Now try not to go too heavy handed with your low tack tape. I'm sort of pulling it away from me. So don't be too heavy-handed, don't be too impatient. I like how I've got the pattern of the kitchen roll on my low tack tape. We can pull that one away. And suddenly with the white, you've got a real sort of pop of that colour. There we go. Just gives you a lovely, lovely background. So let's just leave that on one side at the moment. And then we'll take our Abutilon again with a scrap of card. I haven't got my colouring medium out, but we'll get those out shortly. So I'm now going to stamp in the black because this is going in the foreground, so the black, you will definitely see that. There we go. Just ink that edge again. So we'll just stamp this now onto our card. The sun is shining, which is beautiful, but still a little bit chilly. I need to get out in that garden. Just lovely. So I'll just grab my colouring medium. Let's put this out of the way, which is going to be my Prismacolor pencils. We'll just bring our chair in. But this is Prisma, so I'm going to give that a little bit of time because I don't want to go in too soon with my Prismacolor pencils. So I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to leave a little wide border. These are my Pergamano scissors. I just like using the Pergamano scissors. They've got that curved edge, and for me it really helps when cutting out. I know some of you are a dab hand with the bigger scissors. I can't cut out, I can cut out my sentiments obviously with the bigger scissors, but I just can't cut out as precise as I like with the big scissors when I'm cutting out, you know, my florals, etc. So I'm turning the card because it makes it easier turning the card as I cut out. And you can see I'm trying to keep my fingers away from the actual stamped image so we don't get any smudges. Just a beautiful, beautiful image. So I would like now like a pop of red. Oh crikey, I've actually opened the right section. That is a miracle. So I want something really dark first, which is Crimson Lake. Crimson Lake. Right, so that's Crimson Red. This is Crimson Lake. So you've got PC 924 and PC 925. So I'm going to use those. Do I want a little bit of a lighter colour? So then we'll go for Scarlet Lake 923. So I'm going to start with my darker colour. And I really need to sharpen those. So let's give those a sharpen. Just because I just like them nice and sharp. Oops, works better now. That'll probably be broke because I've just dropped it on there because I'm hopeless. There we go. So let's move that out of the way. So let's get those into, so I've got my dark, medium and lighter colour. And I'm going to use the darker colour, which is the Crimson Lake PC 925. And I'm just going to use a circular motion very lightly Now I want this to look sort of nice and rich. I'm going to bring down that darker colour a little bit further. Don't press on too hard. One, you're going to break your pencil. But just... Then I'm going to go to my medium colour, which is PC924. And you don't sort of see much definition or difference in colour really until you add more layers of that colour. But just using a nice circular motion, and I'm not breaking down those fibres of the card too quickly. And I'm terrible, I have to keep the pencils in order. It's just, don't ask me why, but I just have to. Then going to use the lightest colour, PC923, Scarlet Lake. And then with the Scarlet Lake, and each time I add a layer, I go into the colour above, just so that I get a blend and blend out any of those lines. Now there's not much differentiation in colour at the moment, so we're going to go in with our darkest colour now, which is the Crimson Lake 925. And after this, I won't mention the colours again because I'll drive you mental repeating myself. So I'm just going to add the layer a little bit darker. I'll go to my medium colour, which is the Crimson Red, PC924. I'll just go through the colours one more time, like I'm doing, and then that'll be it. I'll just go dark, medium, light. So as I'm adding the colours, I go into the previous colour, just so that we blend that. And then I'm going to go to my lightest colour, which is Scarlet Lake PC923. And now I won't repeat those colours again. I'll just go dark, medium, light. So now I'm going to go back to my dark and just come in. Can you see that my fingers have come a little bit further down on my pencil? Still using that circular motion. Just to add that colour. I'm then going to go to the medium. And the medium, I come in to the darkest colour. But again, I'm not sort of pressing too hard. Press too hard too soon and I can't layer down any more colour. I'm then going to go to the light, coming up into the medium colour. And it's nice just to take your time as you're blending. And I'm sort of going to leave a little bit of white sort of at the edges. I'm going to come into the dark. I'm going to add a little bit more of that colour. And as I'm adding the dark, the colour, you can see I'm adding the layers and the colour, it blends a little bit better. You get a nice smooth finish because as you add the colours, the white of the card disappears, slowly disappears. Go to my medium colour and then come in to the previous colour just so that you can blend those colours. And I can still feel I've got some looseness to my fingers. I'm not pressing on way too hard. And then I'm going to go in to that lightest colour. Just to blend the other colours. And it's definitely better to see in the naked eye. And then finally, going to go to that dark colour. I'm just going to add a little bit more darkness, the final layer of that dark colour. And you can tell when you've laid down enough and it's not going to lay down anymore. So the mid colour. And then the light colour. And then what I'm going to do is just grab my white, which is always out permanently here on my desk, which it is now. I love a white. And then I'm just going to come in at the base of that and just blend the edges. Let me just sharpen that pencil. I may not have the ability to add a little bit of white, but we'll just add, oh yeah, I can see with the naked eye, just to add some, there we go. Let me just have a look at my, what colour are you? I'm just having a look at some dark colours here. This is Tuscan red, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the Tuscan red. Oh, Tuscan red, which is PC937. Just to give a little bit more darkness here and there. And this Tuscan red is really dark. I'm just going to, just to add a little bit of veining, just to the floral, as if it's sort of darker where the veins are. Crikey, I'm actually going to put my pencils back as well. Whoops, or I'm going to chuck them across the floor. Nice, relaxing way to spend. Let's just give it a little bit of curvature. I know some of you have got all your special tools you use to, but I've got a nice curve on that now, which works quite nicely. So I'm then going to take the, if you look at the Abutilon, it's got nodding flowers. So I'm going to use that text, make sure I grab the right one. Let's put the little floral back. Look at all the ink on my fingers. Just add that nodding flowers. I'm just going to give my fingers a wipe. And then I'm going to use the grey. I have to be careful. I have got the Morning Mist and the Nocturne inks on my website. So now I'm going to just add some of the Nodding Flowers text in the grey. Now, I'm stamping with the grey and it sort of pushes them florals back a little bit. Even though I'm using the same colour, it really does push them. You can see it more in the naked eye. It really does push them back. And it's just an added little detail to add to your project. Now, don't go over your aperture. Yeah, aperture, that's not an aperture, Tracy. Don't go over the edge where you've masked it off, is what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying it very badly. There we go. So I love doing that because it just makes it now feel more like a background. Just lovely. And the more I use the stamps, the more I just love them. So then the reddish floral is going to go here. Just so that you can see that, because it then pops. So let's grab some of that pin flare. And we'll grab a little bit of white cotton. Just to add the white. You've got this white edge, and just to bring some of that white into the card design. So let's pull that out. There you go. And that just diffuses your design a little bit further, the background. And then I'm going to just add a couple of little, well, they're not exactly little, are they, dollops of the pin flare glue. You can just add some card if you haven't got pin flare glue. Mount several pieces of card, stick them together and put them underneath. Then you can use your normal glue, but it gives the depth and dimension. But that pop of red really helps. So what I'm going to do now is add some splatters, because I love my splatters. Now the splatters on the oxide background will take on some of the colour when you add oxides in the background, when you use your Posca pen. You can use your bleed proof if you don't want it to do that. However, because these layers, I've only added them with the brayer, so it doesn't react quite as much like that, but just so that you can see. Now I'm just going to let that just dry a bit, and then I'm going to take the Abutilon word, take that Abutilon. I love when I can create just in a relaxed manner. Just need to make sure I use that black ink, which is the Nocturne ink. Place that back. Let's cut that out. I've actually put my scissors back. And when you mat and layer a card, it really does come to life. Lovely. And then I'll just fling it across the floor or the desk, and then you can't find it. So let's grab the black Posca pen, and we'll just add a black edge to our sentiment or wording. And I'm just doing it, as always, on this piece of card. Saves any clear up. There we go. So that will pop more when I add the black mat, etc. So I'm going to add that Abutilon word there. And I haven't picked up the other adhesive. Just now add this to here. There we go. Just add this here. Now it's got the cotton at the other end here, so I just need to hold that down because the cotton's slightly under the wording, and the cotton, with it being textural, just stops that from adhering. And then if I grab, where have you gone? My little bird from New Beginnings. Let's take our little bird. Then I'm going to have that black ink because I want it to appear in the foreground. And again, if you're not sure where you want to place that, then use your acetate. I'm just going to add this here, like so. And I'm just going to just give that time, as always, even though it's a small stamp, I'm just going to give that a little bit of time just to grab hold of the card, just so that I've got a good image. Stamping isn't about rushing. You only get frustrated when you rush a process. So just take your time not to rush the process. Just beautiful. Place that back. Didn't pick up the gel pen. So we'll use our gel pen. Really, I should, as I always say, wait for the pieces to dry. Now this, I just bring in these birds now coordinate beautifully with these birds, and this is the snippet stencil, so it's all been thought out so that it all works together. Let's just add a little bit more white there, and then I'm just going to just add touches of white just here and there, just to my floral, just to give it a little bit more depth with the touches of white. Even if it's only small touches, it really does add to the design. So then we want to add a little bit of shading, because we really don't want our bird just to be sitting there, floating in midair. So we'll add a little bit of our ink tense pencil, and I'm sort of just touching that lightly because you've got that oxide on there, so you need to be aware of that, because the oxide is reactive to that moisture, so you just need to remember that. There we go. Just come down now with a bit more of that grey from what we've just done, and that's lovely. And then I'm just going to take that white splatter pen and just make sure, you know, the bird is involved in the splatters as well. There we go. And then I'm going to add this to a black mat, which is 4¼ by 6¼ inches. And that just makes everything pop because you've got that bird on there and then the black. It just pops beautifully. There we go. Let's just add that to the black background, which really does work really nicely with the black. And then I'm going to add that to a 5 by 7 inch card blank, just so a little bit of a wider border, just so that everything pops again. Let's add that to our card blank. Oh, gorgeous. Just so that you can see that. And that, I think, just works beautifully. Let me just lift that up for you just so that you can see the dimension. But I think that works really nicely. So I hope you've enjoyed that little video. Once again, thank you so much for your support. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.